Dark chocolate. The ancient Mayans valued cacao beans so highly they used them as currency. A single bean could buy you a tamale. Dark chocolate requires a minimum of 35% cacao solids according to most regulations, though many premium versions contain 70% or higher. The percentage you see on dark chocolate bars refers to the total amount of cacao-derived material, both the chocolate liquor and any added cacao butter. A 70% dark chocolate contains 70% material from the cacao bean and 30% other ingredients, usually sugar and sometimes vanilla or lecithin as an emulsifier. The higher the percentage, the more intense and bitter the flavor becomes, because you're increasing the concentration of cacao's naturally bitter compounds, primarily theobromine and caffeine. Dark chocolate begins with cacao beans that undergo fermentation for 5 to 7 days, then are dried, roasted at temperatures between 250 to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and ground into chocolate liquor. Milk chocolate. Milk chocolate was invented in 1875 by Swiss chocolatier Daniel Peter, who spent 8 years figuring out how to combine milk with chocolate without the mixture spoiling. Milk chocolate is defined by the addition of milk solids, or milk powder, to the chocolate liquor, cacao butter, and sugar mixture. In the United States, milk chocolate must contain at least 10% chocolate liquor and 12% milk solids. In Europe, the requirement is 25% cacao solids. The milk proteins interact with the sugar during processing through a reaction called the Maillard reaction, creating caramel-like flavors that give milk chocolate its characteristic taste. The milk fat contributes to the creamy texture and mellows out the bitter notes present in dark chocolate. White chocolate. White chocolate contains no chocolate liquor at all, yet cacao butter makes up about 55% of a cacao bean's weight, making it very much a cacao product. White chocolate must contain at least 20% cacao butter and 14% milk solids to be labeled as white chocolate in the United States. The absence of chocolate liquor means white chocolate lacks the brown color and characteristic chocolate flavor, instead tasting sweet and creamy with vanilla notes. The cacao butter provides the melt-in-your-mouth texture because it melts at around 93 degrees Fahrenheit, just below human body temperature. White chocolate is more sensitive to heat than dark or milk chocolate because it scorches easily due to its high milk solid content. Blonde chocolate. Blonde chocolate, also called caramelized white chocolate or dulce, was accidentally discovered by French pastry chef Frédéric Baud in 2006 when he left white chocolate heating for hours and forgot about it. The prolonged heating caramelized the milk sugars and proteins, turning the white chocolate into a golden blonde color with a caramel biscuit flavor. This process involves heating white chocolate to around 248 to 266 degrees Fahrenheit for several hours, allowing the Maillard reaction to occur extensively. The Maillard reaction is the same chemical process that browns bread when toasted. It's a reaction between amino acids and reducing sugars that produces hundreds of new flavor compounds. The result contains the same base ingredients as white chocolate, but with a completely transformed flavor profile that's less sweet and more complex, with notes of shortbread, caramel, and toasted milk. Ruby chocolate. Ruby chocolate was introduced commercially in 2017 after 13 years of development, making it the first new natural chocolate color discovered in 80 years. This pink-colored chocolate comes from specially selected ruby cacao beans that undergo specific processing to preserve their natural precursors for the pink color and fruity, slightly sour taste. The beans aren't genetically modified. They're particular varieties grown in Brazil, Ecuador, and the Ivory Coast. The processing method prevents the typical fermentation that would turn the beans brown, preserving compounds called anthocyanins and keeping the chocolate's distinctive berry-like flavor. Ruby chocolate contains no added berries or colors. The taste and hue come entirely from the beans and processing technique. Matica chocolate. Madoka chocolate represents a technique that has remained virtually unchanged since the Aztecs first made it over 500 years ago, brought to Sicily through Spanish conquistadors in the 16th century. This chocolate originates from the Sicilian town of Madoka and is never conched, a process that involves prolonged mixing and heating to smooth the texture. Instead, cacao paste is heated only to about 104 to 113 degrees Fahrenheit, just warm enough to remain liquid, then mixed with sugar and poured into molds. The low temperature means the sugar crystals never fully dissolve, creating a grainy, crunchy texture. You can feel and taste individual sugar granules when you bite into it. Traditional Madoka chocolate often includes flavorings like vanilla, cinnamon, or chili pepper added during the mixing process. Because the chocolate isn't tempered in the conventional sense, it doesn't have the glossy snap of modern chocolate. Instead, it's matte and crumbly. Drinking chocolate. The Aztec Emperor Montezuma allegedly drank 50 cups of chocolate per day from golden goblets, believing it gave him energy and vitality. Drinking chocolate differs fundamentally from hot cocoa, though the terms are often confused. Hot cocoa is made from cocoa powder, the defatted solid component of cacao, mixed with sugar and hot water or milk, making it relatively light and lower in fat. Drinking chocolate, however, is made from actual chocolate, shaved or chopped pieces of chocolate with high cacao butter content, melted into hot milk or cream. The Spanish brought this tradition from the Aztecs, who drank their chocolate cold and unsweetened, often mixed with chili peppers and cornmeal. A proper drinking chocolate is substantially thicker than hot cocoa, because you're essentially melting a chocolate bar into liquid form, creating a beverage that can contain 30 to 40% cacao solids and significant cacao butter. Raw chocolate. Raw cacao contains up to 4 times the antioxidants of regular dark chocolate because heat destroys many of the beneficial compounds during conventional roasting. Raw chocolate is made from cacao beans that are never roasted or are roasted at very low temperatures, typically below 118 degrees Fahrenheit, to preserve enzymes and antioxidants that heat would otherwise destroy. The beans are still fermented and dried, but the subsequent processing avoids high heat. The flavor profile is notably different from conventional chocolate, more astringent, bitter, and less developed because roasting creates hundreds of flavor compounds through chemical reactions. Without these reactions, raw chocolate tastes more vegetal and earthy, with pronounced acidity and fruity notes from the fermentation. The texture can be grittier because lower temperatures make it harder to refine the particles to the small size achieved in conventional chocolate processing. Gianduja. Gianduja was invented in Turin, Italy in 1806 during Napoleon's continental blockade, which made cacao scarce and expensive, forcing chocolatiers to extend their limited supply with local hazelnuts. This chocolate confection is made by combining chocolate with hazelnut paste, typically in a ratio of 30 to 40% hazelnuts to chocolate. The hazelnuts are roasted separately to develop their flavor, then ground into a fine paste until the nuts release their natural oils. This hazelnut paste is then mixed with chocolate, either dark or milk chocolate, and sugar while still warm. The nut oils blend seamlessly with the cacao butter, creating a smooth, spreadable consistency that's softer than regular chocolate at room temperature. The grinding process is crucial because the hazelnut particles must be refined to below 20 microns to achieve the characteristic silky texture that melts immediately on the tongue. The name comes from Gianduja, a carnival character from Turin folklore.